Hello friends, Steve Stockton here with you. Welcome to our latest video. In this episode, I'm going to bring you some information about some unworldly happenings in our national parks. Join me. Let's take a walk and see. Now, when hearing about America's national parks, one may look back on all the good memories they had there at one time. Maybe the nature or the wildlife that you might have encountered. Surely you don't think of stories that would fuel nightmares, cause goosebumps with ghosts and unidentified flying objects. But that's right, friends. If you dig just a little deeper into the history and legends of some of these beloved outdoor playgrounds, you may just find yourself picking up the pace when you're out there on the trails next time. From mysterious curses to creepy creatures, here are just a few of the spookiest locations in our national parks. First up, Pele's Wrath at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park homes an active volcano by the name of Kilauea. It is also known as the home to Pele, who is a beloved and respected Hawaiian deity of fire. Pele, who is very well known for having a fiery temperament, is hailed as the intense force behind the decades of eruptions. Pele teaches the Hawaiian people that they should be good stewards of the land, and those who do not pay attention to her teachings will indeed incur her wrath. According to Hawaiian beliefs, it's well known and warned about among the locals, those who take souvenirs, like volcanic rocks from the land around Kilauea, will be cursed by Pele herself. While some of the skeptics may say it's just a legend or coincidence, the rangers actually report receiving hundreds of pieces of mail a year from visitors that are returning rocks and other objects that they took from the park, often accompanied by letters that describe bad luck and disastrous results they experienced afterwards, and they offer their heartfelt apologies to Pele. Next up, beware the banshee at the Badlands National Park. The Badlands National Park is on the western edge of South Dakota, where stands the towering spires and ancient rock formations. There's also a treasure trove of fossils from creatures both modern and prehistoric that once roamed the land. One such creature, though, may still inhabit the park, it seems. Some of the hikers who visit Dogwatch Butte, especially at night, occasionally report seeing what is known as the Badlands banshee. This entity is said to be a woman who gestures toward visitors only to speak words that can't be heard. When hikers try to get close enough to understand her, she would burst into violent shrieks before quickly disappearing. Some of the reports claim that she is also accompanied by a skeletal figure. No telling who that was at one time. The unfleshed skeleton trudges in the ash and clay and haunts the camps in its search for music. It's said that if it hears music, it will sit outside the door. It will nod its skeletal head in time to it, while a violin within its reach would be seized eagerly and played on throughout half the night. Next up, not a national park, but a state park. There was a rectangular UFO spotted at Glacial Lakes State Park. On August 19, 2022, a witness near Starbuck, Minnesota, reported seeing a rectangular-shaped object nearly half a block long. It was floating silently about 500 yards away at about 10 p.m. The report of the sighting goes as follows, quote, "My family and I were camping in a rental cabin at Glacial Lakes State Park near the town of Starbuck. We were just sitting around the fire, and I looked up through the trees, and I saw what I thought at first was a bar of light. I pointed up and said, 'What is that?' We moved to a clearing and looked up and saw a very bright white light, 1/4 to 1/2 block long, moving extremely slowly, as if it were floating. It was no more than 500 yards from us, and rectangular in shape, moving west to east. The entire sighting lasted no more than 3 minutes. As we watched it, it slowly started to fade, front to rear. It was a clear night with no clouds." End quote. The report continues, "The object was absolutely silent, with no wake whatsoever. I want it understood that this was not Starlink. This object was close to us, almost overhead. We only saw the object in profile. We didn't get to see the bottom or the top. It looked like if you took a bunch of Japanese lanterns and connected them together in a rectangular shape and extended it for a very long distance. That's pretty close to what we saw with this object. The rectangular shape was segmented. It was segmented perhaps 8 to 10 segments altogether. That's when the object began to fade away. There was no sound at all, and it left no wake. We didn't feel any different. It didn't seem to bother us. However, it did fade away as if it knew somebody had seen it. The fade took place rather slowly from the front of the object to the back. It looked kind of like it would have moved into a large, thick cloud bank, but it was a very clear night. The fading took 15 seconds, maybe 30. Kind of like somebody was dimming it with a dimmer switch, and it was gone. We had cabin neighbors, and I was asking them if they saw it as well. They did, but they weren't very interested in talking about it. On Sunday, when we were leaving the state park, I stopped at the office and inquired if anyone else had reported seeing a UFO. The young lady said that nobody had, and she would take my report. Of course, it was a rather short, cursory report. She kept saying Starlink, Starlink. But I knew it wasn't Starlink. I know what Starlink looks like. So instead of taking up more of her precious time, I reported it to the NUFORC, the National UFO Reporting Center. This was the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm 65 years old. Next, we have the Grand Canyon and the 4,000-year-old UFO crash site secret. Many months ago, a team of specialist experts were apparently hired to investigate debris that were contained in the Grand Canyon. These specialists were said to have found the remains of a nearly 4,000-year-old unidentified flying object that had been resting there for all those years until they arrived on the site. The expert team was believed to be made out of the core of the Secret Joint Military Task Force on Unidentified Flying Objects. The craft that they had located at the Grand Canyon was constructed out of an unknown metallic substance. It also showed signs of low levels of radiation. When the craft was found, they quickly removed the craft to a secure military location. Dr. Henry Lomont, a California-based astronomer, claims that he has inside information on the Grand Canyon UFO crash site. Dr. Lomont believes that the craft found was of a decent size and could possibly be able to carry about 20 individuals being of a certain height. He also has stated that he believes the carbon dating on the ship suggests that it must have crashed around the 2000 BC period. A little about the inside of the crashed vessel. When the team of experts had finally managed to get inside the craft, they discovered that the cabin area was designed for humanoids of approximately 4 to 5 feet in height. They also found machines that resembled oxygen tanks and signs of old supplies. The craft was thought to be atomic-powered and had a steering system that was based on magnetics. Apparently, the ancient UFO was located in an area known as Comanche Point. It was lodged deep inside the limestone formation. When the team of experts carried out the very thorough search of the area, they determined that the inhabitants of the said vessel must have lived near it for years after the crash. There are Native American caves nearby that show paintings of strange humanoid creatures having bulbous heads. Those illustrations are thought to depict the creatures that came from the inside of this crashed ancient spacecraft. The team of experts are also thought to believe that the alien life disappeared from the surrounding area about 50 years after the initial crash landing of this UFO. It's still a mystery to what exactly may have happened to the beings that were living around the fallen vessel. Dr. Lomont goes on to describe that the craft measured an approximate 50 feet wide with a length that was at least 100 feet. He also claims that the American government has been doing all that they can to keep this amazing find from the public's eye. Next up, has there been a top-secret underground alien base at Yellowstone National Park? Some online members of the UFO community are ecstatic over some grainy webcam footage that was recently taken at the Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. The webcam footage captured by the Upper Geyser Base and nighttime live streaming camera went viral after it was uploaded to YouTube. That video shows a somewhat strange incident that took place on February 29, 2016 at Yellowstone Park near the Old Faithful Geyser. A fireball, or some sort of mysterious glowing orb, streaks across the sky, then disappears. Then moments later, a green flash of light appears. The area around the mountain is lit up by that green flash of light for several seconds. UFO Sightings Hotspot notes that the light couldn't have been created by a person on the mound, nor could it have been due to a car headlight, street lights, or walkway lights, because people are not allowed to walk on the geyser mounds and they are certainly not allowed in that area after dark. Plus, there was no threat of an imminent eruption, therefore the light could not have been caused by increased activity of the volcano. However, the YouTube user that first uploaded the footage online on March 1, 2016, thinks that the light may have been caused by a meteor. The YouTuber writes, quote, "I recently found out that this video has been shared on a UFO alien type channel, saying it shows an alien spaceship crashing. I never said this, so I just want to make that clear," end quote. Despite the YouTube user's disclaimer about the 2016 video, Some of the UFO researchers insist that there needs to be an objective analysis of the video in context of the big picture because of recent mysterious events happening at this and other national parks. Those strange events would be recurring strange lights, and the recent incidental uncovering of a secret government research site at the park makes you think that it is possible that the footage caught actually does show an alien UFO exploding over the park. The online UFO community insists that the incident, which came soon after a reported previous strange incident on February 26, 2016, in which a bright light appeared on the nighttime webcam feed, provides new evidence that there is likely a major government alien base beneath the Old Faithful geyser at the beloved Yellowstone Park. Many UFO hunters are claiming that the strange lights occurring over the park are due to alien UFO traffic linked to the activities at the alien base. According to one online UFO hunter, the repeated incidents of fireballs and strange light at the park are evidence enough to silence the skeptics who scoff at the claims that the national park is the site of an underground alien base. One UFO blogger thinks that the video does indeed show UFO, but he disagrees that it shows a UFO crashing, and in his opinion, what the video does show is a UFO exiting an underground base and powering up. He says, quote, "It is seen at the 32-second mark in the video. It looks like a UFO that came out of the park's ground and suddenly powered up and shot away at high speed." He continues, "The bright flash was moving from the ground upward. I've long suspected that the U.S. government has allocated park land and increased it every few years, not for conservation, but because the U.S. allows aliens to build bases under that land." Similar opinions echoing this view are prevalent in the UFO community. The frequent reports of strange lights and UFOs at the park have fueled rumors that a major alien base exists there underneath the park. There are a lot of UFO researchers that believe the alien base is a joint government alien project, much like that at Area 51, located in Nevada. Some members of the UFO community have frequently expressed the view that our national parks are generally a cover for the government alien secret bases or other nefarious activities. Also, the fact that they place restrictions on human movement in certain areas of national parks are out of fear that people will accidentally stumble upon evidence. However, the existence of the cave has become public knowledge following a court filing by a Montana rancher. He claimed that part of the cave extended onto his property. Despite this, there are claims that the cave was nicknamed American Pompeii because it only contained artifacts that were left over by ancient human cave dwellers and animal species. Some of the online UFO and alien community have speculated that government efforts to keep this information about the existence of the cave secret was linked to the efforts to cover up the presence of a government alien base, further claiming that the aliens had teamed up to work with the government at the base to reverse engineer alien flying saucer propulsion technology. Leonard Gutfeld, who is an archaeologist for the University of Montana, has told the Yellowgate website, quote, "I've gotten calls about pieces of a flying saucer being found, as well as one gentleman who claimed to have obtained a Yeti toe from the site." End quote. Of course, the rumors about an ET alien base at the Yellowstone National Park have spread like wildfire and have gained enough traction only because there's been no official reaction. Media reporters were unable to have access to the cave site and confirm the nature of the scientific research work that was going on at the site. And finally, we have an episode of painful grief from beyond the grave at the Grand Canyon. That's correct, back to the Grand Canyon once again, this time for some strange spiritual entities. These spirits, apparently from the afterlife, have been reported to wander around some of the trails, one of which is the most prominent legend that involves a father and son who were hiking at the Transept Trail on the North Rim nearly a century ago. When the weather turned nasty, the father and son lost their footing and fell to their deaths. Their grieving wife and mother had spent weeks searching for her family members along the canyon walls, and when her attempts proved unsuccessful, she had ended her own life at the Grand Canyon Lodge. It's said to that this day, on stormy nights, hikers will report seeing what's now known as the Wailing Woman, which is a glowing apparition in a white dress with small blue flowers who continues to search for her family that she lost all those years ago on the Transept Trail. Well, friends, there you have it. What do you think of these otherworldly incidents going on in our national and state parks? I look forward to your comments, but please keep it friendly and respectful. Till we meet again, be good to yourselves and each other. Stay safe out there. As for me, I'll see you a little farther on down the trail. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time. Tell your animals I said hi.